We come from a country where students are fighting against white supremacy, a capitalist system that has divided our country and excluded the indigenous people of South Africa and Africa as a whole. A system that projected white people as superior and black people as inferior. A system that subjected black people to a situation where they were denied education so that they can be suppliers of cheap labor. In South Africa, we've got a situation where the rich love animals than the people. Dogs of rich people in South Africa have got medical aids. We have a company called the London Mine, which is mining in a place called Marikana. The mine has got everything, all the basic needs. Water, electricity, roads. And just next to a mine is a township where black people stay without water and electricity, without roads, without proper schools. Yet London Mine is taking their platinum and reinforcing and making London and Britain to be what it is. We come from a country where students are leading the struggle against colonialism. We come from a country where students are fighting against white supremacy and a capitalist system that has divided our country and excluded the indigenous people of South Africa and Africa as a whole. It is the students of South Africa, following the speech of the EFF in Parliament of South Africa, that demanded that roads must fall. They do not say roads must fall because of their hatred of white people. But they said roads must fall because they hated what roads represented. A white supremacy. A system that projected white people as superior and black people as inferior. A system that subjected black people to a situation where they were denied education so that they can be suppliers of cheap labor. Roads took our land. Roads introduced a system that led to a black genocide. Roads exploited our minerals and natural resources and left South Africa without anything that will demonstrate that this country is a mineral-rich country. We cannot continue to celebrate people who represented a racial divide of our people. So the students in South Africa are demanding, and they've succeeded, that everything else that represents backwardness and racial division and hatred of black people should not be celebrated. The students, after the defeat of those who believed that those who perpetuated white supremacy should be celebrated, they went further to demand that education should not be a commodity. It must be free for all. Because education is a right, protected and enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. They agreed, those students, that no university in South Africa should increase fees because fees as they are now, they're extremely expensive. The government of South Africa agreed that they will not increase fees, and they thought that they have successfully silenced the students. Upon agreeing, in the same way they agreed to remove roads, the students said 0%, no increase is not enough, we want free education. Following the success of the students to put on the national agenda the importance of education, then the workers in the university demanded to be incorporated as employees of the universities, because in South Africa, workers are not part of the staff complement of the universities. They are outsourced, they are owned by labor brokers, they've got no benefits, they've got no rights. They work for universities, some of them for more than 30 years. When they go on pension, they've got nothing to show. Students joined them and said, these are our parents. We want them to be integrated as part of the university, and they must have benefits. Because you've got a situation where in South Africa, the rich have got extremely more than the poor. We've got a situation where the rich love animals than the people. The dogs of rich people in South Africa have got medical aids, but the domestic workers and university workers, the farm workers, the petrol attendants, the security guards do not have medical aids, neither do they have rights as workers. They all work for a system called labor brokers. So students, like they did during apartheid days in South Africa in 1976, they've now influenced a new era, a new terrain of struggle, where the interests of the poor are firmly put on the agenda of South Africa. Today, South Africa discusses minimum wage. Today, South Africa discusses how the rich can share wealth with the poor, because the young ones are in the forefront of the struggle to transform South Africa. In South Africa, for the past 21 years, politics which were represented there were right-wing politics, which led to the ruling party also taking a right-wing direction because it only had competition from the right. There's never been a legitimate, credible left formation to challenge the ruling party or to have a ruling party striving for balance. And because nature does not allow a vacuum, the organization called the Economic Freedom Fighters emerged and closed that gap. The EFF emerged in South Africa because South African working class demanded a proper representative of the working class. EFF emerged in South Africa because the unemployment increased in South Africa. The poverty levels increased in South Africa. The inequality increased in South Africa. We have a situation where the levels of corruption in South Africa are actually institutionalized. You get a senior position on the basis of to what extent are you corrupt. If you are anti-corruption, you never get a promotion, because the state favors those who are corrupt. We have a situation in South Africa where a white-owned capitalism or economic system has been exploiting our people, and our people have not been benefiting from the mineral resources in our country. We have a company called the London Mine, which is mining in a place called Marikana. In that mine, the mine has got everything, all the basic needs: water, electricity, roads. And just next to a mine is a township or a village where black people stay without water and electricity, without roads, without proper schools. Yet London Mine is taking their platinum and reinforcing and making London and Britain to be what it is. Literally, between the mine and the community is a dumping area where the children coming from that community go and look for food in that dumping area. It is in the same mine where 34 workers were killed by a London mine. Those workers did not demand anything except a living wage. One of the workers in an interview, when he was interviewed and he was told, you are looking for too much money, yet you are not educated. Why do you look for so much money? You have not been to school. He said, I want this money so that I can take my child to school, so that my child cannot be like me. I want to produce a CEO of a mine. They were fighting to have roof over their head. They did not have weapons in their hands. But the government of the day responded to those genuine demands of the people by sending police with rifles, and people were killed because they demanded enough money to take their kids to school.
There you have it, guys. Julius Malema is usually full of these revolutionary speeches. Sometimes you wonder where he gets them from. But whatever the case is, we really hope that his wisdom transcends, and really contributes to the development of Africa and in helping solving Africa's really myriad of challenges. But what do you guys think about his speech? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe, because that's the way you support Kwazemi as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.